the whole time. Else?
Else. All right. One is streaming.
Nobody's watching. Not yet.
We are live.
Are we rocking and rolling, J-Bone?
We are rocking and rolling. What if we made a musical?
Better pelvis, Riley. Better pelvis. Go there. That was better pelvis, Riley. Good job. Mo better.
Much more.
Right, TP?
Live.
All right, so we're cooking, Jay?
Oh, don't want the feedback. Yep. Yes, sir, we are.
All right, that's awesome. Well, welcome in to August's first Q&A.
Yes,
I
sir.
can't believe we're in August already. You know what I'm pumped for? Fall.
Oh, it's my favorite.
Like October in Colorado.
Oh, freaking throw on some pants and a nice little sweatshirt.
A little parka and have a day.
Yes. A
Sounds
little
pretty good.
overcast and fog.
Couple
Leaves
months.
changing.
Oh man, just all of it. I'm getting excited. Getting excited.
You ever go up and watch the leaves change color
Kind, sorta.
from a
Sorta.
distance?
From a distance, I go, oh, look at the mountains. They're
okay.
yellow. That's kind of cool.
That's my favorite thing to do. I'll take
Yeah.
my motorcycle up every year and I'll go find a new pass.
Yeah.
I'll go take pictures of it. Oh, it's
So pretty.
Oh,
Especially the aspens.
those are my favorite trees.
I mean, it's no Vermont, but
This
we
is
do we
true.
do it pretty darn well here in Colorado.
Yeah.
I will say. So, well, welcome in, those of you that are watching live, and those of you that are watching later. Then hopefully we can get to your questions as well. But with that being said, why don't we just hop in, Jay? What's
Let
question number
us-
one on your book there, homie G?
We're just going to start straight from the live chat from last week.
Nice.
We'll get you
Nice.
guys get caught back up.
Yep.
Jason Phillips. Riley.
What's up, Jason Phillips?
Can you explain the pinching the golf ball between the hips in transition, specifically on the lead side after you've pinched on the trail side?
So I think what we're talking about is like right here in this crease. Okay, we're talking about like how you could drop and like hold a golf ball in there. Okay, so like we're seeing this like drop in here. Now, that will happen really in each hip complex. We're just talking like appropriate flexion there. So in the lead hip, if I go in here and I drop and swivel in, then I would right now, Jason, be I would have the same amount of flexion in each hip complex. So it's not like one has more than the other. So that drop and swivel is what creates that that pinching, as you're saying, of the golf ball in each one of those hip complexes. So that just happens. That'll happen like roughly at P5, and then really from that point forward, the hips are going to move in extension because the chest or the upper spiral line is just dragging that and pulling that all the way up into finish. But yeah, that's a great feel to have. And on top of that, like the appropriate drop, like when I do this, notice what happens, like not only to my booty, but my spine. Like see how like you can tell that all the cords in my back, my booty, my hamstrings, like the whole posterior chain is on right now. So I'd hit a lot of shots where you're just feeling like we're back in here, good drop to be able to get in there and like light up that posterior chain. And see how long the golf club can just like float as you're dropping in there, and then you can go ahead and spiral out of it all the way up into finish. So really it's like, to very quickly and easily answer that question, both of these will drop into very similar amounts of flexion states during that transitionary time, roughly at like P5-ish is where we're gonna have that like kind of maxed out. Good question.
All right, we'll go to Troy Wampler. Hi, Riley. You say transition should feel like it takes forever.
Yep.
But this is not easy. My impulse to hit the ball is difficult to control, especially when I'm trying to get extra distance. Do you have any mental tips or something to focus on that might help? Thanks.
Yeah. I think two things. Number one is understand that, like, let's say if I'm throwing a ball, I'm going to have, we got audio issues?
Somebody on Instagram said no sound. Somebody in the live chat, can you make sure that we're good? I think we should be good
Testing,
on sound.
testing.
Test. Or actually, I can do this.
Test, 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 test. Whose mic is it?
When I'm trying to get extra distance.
Yep. I think we're good. I think we're good.
We're fine?
Yep, we're good.
Okay. All right. False alarm. All right. So we're telling you. Yep. Okay. So I just look at like how we were talking about like throwing a baseball. Like if I went here, kind of stepped and had the ball almost elongate away from me here, like see how all of that tissue is elongated. So now as I go ahead and start to turn, I almost load that tissue once again even more, so then I can collapse it. So like you don't see high level pitchers rushed in their transition because they're loading and elongating all that tissue. So we're doing something very similar here in golf swing, where if I'm back here roughly at P3, the arms are going to continue to work away, like the handle's working away here as I start to drop, so that you can see how that's going to elongate this posterior lead arm line. Now if I go proper pelvic swivel, see how I'm going to load that even more. So now I can fire. So if I'm doing that, I'm going to go in here, drop, swivel, gone. So see how long that takes. So from down the line, we'd be in here, drop, swivel, gone. See how long that takes in one motion. We're here, drop, swivel, gone. So like the point is if we want to hit it further, we need to elongate tissue. And if you're one to just run the handle up or back and then try to run it back down, you don't really have the opportunity to really load all of that tissue. You still can in the arms, but the issue is like the body doesn't support it as well. And so it's gonna feel like you have to work really hard, especially through the hit, in order to acquire distance or speed. So what I'd love you to do are just some drills like we just were doing there, where it's like, all right, I'm gonna gently turn this away with the rib cage. Notice how the arms are kind of chilled out. But now if I go ahead and continue with like the arms, like see how the handle, I'm looking to pressure it at the camera, and I drop at the same time. That happens first, then I'd go pelvic swivel, look at that load right in there, and now I could go ahead and hit. So it's more here, there. See how long that took. But you're not doing anything really with the arms other than a little bit of pressure at the camera. As you drop, swivel, gone. See how long that takes. It's a great way to just get transition organized better. We're here, there. So you have all that time to go ahead and load up that tissue, not only in the arms, but also in your body to support that arm hit. Because once we load, obviously then we can go ahead and unload the arm line. That's the whole purpose of loading the arm line in the first place. So I do a few of those two pieces where we go to P3 and then just sense that transitionary time to load up those tissue lines and then fire away. Huh?
Finger.
Oh, finger.
All right, Carl.
Carl. Does that work?
Yep.
Nice. What's up, Carl?
Hi, fellas.
I love that it starts that way. It makes me so happy.
Great to see you.
So happy.
I was at a clinic where Tiger was asked, what part of the golf ball do you look at? He said, I don't know, the ball is kind of there. Thoughts? Thank you.
Oh, that's a great question, and I agree with that. I think like in the back of most good players' minds, like what they're seeing is they're seeing themselves almost in third person, like what your golf swing is kind of looking like. And we're obviously you're set up to the golf ball, you are looking at it, but it's not like we're looking at like a specific dimple or anything like that. For most players, I'll say. I will say this is super interesting when it comes to looking at golf ball or where players are looking. There's one cat that we coach, his name is Chris Cordy. Obviously nice high level player, has played in a few PGA Tour events this year, some Corn Ferry, blah, blah, blah. And for a long time, he was kind of having some difficulty with his low point, and Cordy actually came up with this, I think, on his own, or it was another player that was really kind of talking to him about, you know, where, like Cordy asked him, where do you look? And what Cordy ended up doing, because his low point, he would have some difficulty with kind of rocking out of it and then trying to shove the handle forward, and he ends up like pronating through the hit. It kind of gets messy down there. And he'll end up hitting kind of some fastballs because of that, because he takes off a lot of loft when he does that in hitting. And so all he did is he took his attention from kind of looking in between the ball and the club when he set up, and he started looking at the front of the ball like a dimple in front, on the front side of the golf ball closest to the target, and started just looking there and hitting shots, and immediately helped him with his low point and his overall strike. The release got better. Everything was so much better just because of where he was looking. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to kind of play around with maybe where you're looking at a golf ball. Like if we got kind of back into full swing, I mean, these are all like individual ideas, but let's say I wanted to hit more of a cutting style shot, it would be fine to kind of look out here on the outer portion of the golf ball so that I could impact more in that space in here to kind of hit that little pull cutter, compared to if I wanted to hit more of a draw style. Would it be okay to look on the instep there? Sure, but as long as we're not trying to like accrue that inside path or have that inside path by whacked out body move, right? So all I'm doing is going, okay, good body, but I need that club in here so that now I could attack it from the inside to hit that nice easy block draw right there. So I think interesting, if you talk to every single tour player, you'd probably hear mostly what Tiger would have said. Like, I don't know where I'm looking. They're envisioning their golf swing from a third person perspective. I would think that a lot of players would articulate it some kind of a way in that manner. But I'm sure there's a few that have some kind of focus on the golf ball. I mean, I think it's just player dependent. Player dependent.
Absolutely.
Interesting question, though.
Really good
for
question.
Sure. Yeah.
John O'Neill.
John?
Yes.
John O'Neill. What's up, John?
Can you simplify how the legs drive the golf swing? What should I feel in my left and right legs as far as pressure? I've been driving my right knee at the ball and it's not working.
Yeah. So the legs don't drive the golf swing. They do not drive the golf swing. They do not create speed. They don't do any of that. They're a support system. Now, you can gain more speed because you're accruing more tissue, including the legs and the feet. But just the statement there, right? Like the legs driving the golf swing makes it sound like there's some active moves from the legs that are going to like accrue power, is how I'm reading into that. Now maybe I'm off on that, but just being careful with language here. What I would like players to generally sense is that for the most part, we're looking for like some amount of internal rotation of the femurs is for the most part going to be a very good thing to feel for a lot of players. External rotation is for the most part going to be like a kind of a tough thing for players to really look at. Now, even though, yeah, each leg goes into some amount of internal or external during certain parts of the swing. Like for instance, if I'm right here, start to continue to turn the chest and the pelvis starts to rotate. Well, this action, the pelvis rotates into the femur here. So this is internal rotation of the trail. This is external rotation of the lead. Now, as I drop and then I start to swivel here, I'm going to start to move more into internal rotation of the lead and external rotation of the trail. But by no means am I saying that we actively try to make the trail leg go into external or the lead leg into external. So most of the time, when players are visualizing like internal rotation of the femurs, like if I drop and throw internal, like you can see how the heels are trying to pressure away, but also notice this is not internal rotation. I think a lot of times players think, oh, I go internal. This is actually adduction. That makes the pressure go onto the instep of the foot, which is like, I hate that. Banking, I hate it, right? Like an actual, like from right here, I've got to bank the foot. See what this immediately makes my pelvis do? Shoves the pelvis out. I'm going to be in here 100% of the time. Okay, so what I would prefer players feel when it comes to pressures as well, so I could go in here, like you can see how I've got pressure down the right foot, down the left foot, down the right foot. This was last week's Q&A when we were talking about figure eights or infinities. Totally fine to feel some of that, but that pressure really comes from rib cage on top of right leg, and then the rib cage goes boom on top of the left. It's not because I'm shoving the pelvis to create that pressure. It's ribs, 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 ribs. This is where the pressure comes from, and the knees just respond, and the foot pressure starts to respond. But notice when I'm doing this too, there's no, like if I'm in here, the pressure actually, if we're reading it, is more on the outstep of the foot. It goes on the outstep of the foot. It's not like I'm ever trying to make that foot go here. This is an eversion move in that foot, meaning that the arch of my foot I'm trying to slam to the ground. I would rather people show inversion, which looks more this way. See how the inside ankle bone comes up, okay, and it keeps my pressure on the outstep. So now if I do that, see how it keeps my pelvis underneath me with that type of a pressure, compared to trying to shove the foot in here that skates the pelvis. Now I look this way. Now I have to tumble the golf club to square it, blah, blah, frickin' blah. So in essence, what I would like you to sense, my man, is if you're feeling pressure, you can go down each leg. I'm not trying to just shove pressure laterally. I'm feeling down this leg or down this leg. And really the main movement here is like I'm turning the rib cage. So if I went pressure, turn rib cage, kept turning rib cage, and now just drop the pelvis, there's where the pressure goes down the lead foot. And from here, if I go swivel, see how I'm like, it almost looks like I'm outer edge on each foot. There's no pressure on the instep here. I'm in there. And I would keep turning all the way up into finish. So just looking at, again, just kind of like going through all of that. Outside edge is a good thing. The dropping of the pelvis is a good thing. Pressure down each leg would be a good thing. And just in general, looking to throw more internal rotation of the femurs is going to be a good thing. Last note on that, like if you watch Rory, how he loads, so he'll go turn, keeps turning and drops. See where this lead heel lands? So the lead heel lands closer to the target than where he started, so his land would be in here. And then Hovland, who's maybe my favorite pivot in the forward swing, he'll go big booty move in here as he keeps doing that. Look at where that trail heel gets thrown. Gets thrown away as he keeps turning all the way up into finish. So this act, not a fan. This whole look of like sneed exercise to try to like make that ball drop. This is just dual external rotation. Not a fan, not a fan. So play with that because there's a lot in just that response to that question. The one thing that I would definitely take a look at too, if you're on the X Factor app, watch in the full swing principles main category, the subcategory of lower body action. Watch that series and it'll give you more insight on what I just covered kind of in a brief response there. Good question though, man. Good question.
I'd love to hear your answer on this one, Riley.
When Jackson has like a little smirky grin, I'm like, I get excited because I'm both nervous and happy all at once.
It's a good one. Donald D. Lee.
Nice. I just saw you this morning, Don.
Why is golf so hard?
So Don's in working with me right now. Hi, Don. We just worked this morning. I get to work with Don tomorrow, which is going to be really, really fun. And plus, like the shots that you were sending just a few moments ago, golf's not all that hard anymore, homie G. And I think like on a serious note on that, because I mean, shoot, yes, we see a lot of golfers come through here, right? And all kinds of different personalities. And a lot of the personalities that I think we just in general attract are a bunch of friggin' golf nerds. You guys study the heck out of the golf swing and try on different feels or movements on for size and try to understand this thing better and better and better. And what you end up doing inevitably is you get lost in the woods, which is fine. You go into the woods. You just need to know how to get out of there. So if you can look at that, that's why we have global laws here. We have 3 of them. Rhythm, where the club moves in space, and how your body supports that. We describe it in different ways, but at least then you can go, okay, well, where's the club moving in space relative to me? Where does my body need to move, and can I do that in a general, like, bouncy, wavy way? Oh, okay, That's the golf swing. Now we can see the golf swing as a shape rather than, okay, at P6, then the teres major fires, and then you need to supinate the trail arm as the lead arm goes internal. Oh, don't forget about rib sway and dropping the pelvis and flexion in the right hip. All that stuff, it's fine there to describe movements and shapes, sure. But at the end of the day, we've got to have a good understanding of like different ways to approach the golf ball. And at the end of the day, that's totally up to you. Do you want to swing it more like Nelly does through the hit? Or do you want to move it more like Hovland or Oshke or Gordon Sargent or any of those guys? Now again, you know our preference. And by now, if you followed us for long enough and looked at the videos on our online academy, you'll understand why we have those preferences, because of health reasons, because of rate of rotation, low point control, path control. Yeah, we have preferences. However, it's not to say that that is the only way to swing a golf club. There are many different ways. You look at Matt Wolff versus Ray Floyd versus Tiger and Adam Scott and Hovland and all these guys, they have different little quirks in there. The question is just how things work together so that you create these really easy concepts, or at least digestible concepts. All that a concept is that movement plus that movement equals a concept. Oh, like this, for example. If I take the golf club and pull it down, like Justin Rose talks about right here, I have to shove the pelvis out and I can't rotate my chest at all anymore, or very limited, because I've got to I'm going to rotate and close the golf club down with the arms. It's a way to do it. Or I could go in here, move the golf club over in this space relative to my rib cage. So now what do I need to do? Well, I've got to turn. So those are two different concepts. We could go here to hit, or we could go there to hit. Now, can I hit a straight shot with both of those? Yeah. Can I create speed with both of those? Yeah. Can I control my low point? Yeah. Can I square the club face? Yeah. So it checks all these different boxes. It just depends, and everybody has different preferences on this thing, folks. Like, there's not one way to swing it. We try to reiterate this a lot. Morikawa grips it here, Fitzpatrick grips it there, friggin' Lee Trevino aims 30 yards left, Mediate aims 30 yards right. Who's right? Who's wrong? Mm-hmm. There is no right and wrong. They're all just balance outs based on what type of ball flight you want and need, what type of traj, what kind of curvature. Those are all questions to ask, and then you can build your program around that and your system around that. So it's hard when you have conflicting information that you're all trying to have work in there together so that it moves. Like, if I lower the arms this way and I'm also trying to rotate the chest, that's not going to work. I'm going to hit it behind me. So that's going to lead to frustration, because you got to fix that late somehow to try to like get that golf ball going forward. It feels like frickin' blah at the bottom. So I get it. That's the difficulty, I think, with understanding our game, is understanding that, like, look, like I see some Instagram dorks say that do this. Well, what do I need to do it with? Like, you got to marry it and balance it out so you understand the concept so that you can hit the golf ball forward. So anyhow, golf's not hard. We just have to organize it in a way and then put the reps in, and the results follow that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'd actually kind of like to hear your take on this one. I know you're probably going to ask mine. Edward, when is the right time to get fitted for golf clubs?
Okay. I think that, well, Jackson, first off, is a fabulous club fitter. We actually stole him from, you primarily were fitting, weren't you?
Just fitting and tuning skis.
Yes, fitting and tuning skis.
Yes.
That sounds like a Colorado job.
Oh, it was a blast, but I'm having more fun here.
Baby. So Jackson's a fabulous club fitter, does all different levels of players. He actually bent Dylan Stewart's wedges right before he went up to Canada, and he's had some pretty doggone good success ever since then. So awesome. This is my take on it. When you first start golf, and this is in our Break 100 masterclass, You need 4, maybe 5 golf clubs, and you can get them from frickin' Radio Shack for all I care. They have a brick on the end of a stick, and you can hold on to the end of it, totally fine, develop a golf swing. Really great golf swings can pretty much hit anything, and I've told this story to especially a lot of like younger pros. When I was a younger playing professional and trying to beat it up, I had one mentor. His name was Kendall Yamamoto, and I'm hitting balls and he's watching me. I'm kind of hitting it shitty, and I blamed it on, man, I just don't. I feel like my irons aren't fit well to me anymore. And he got like pretty, not mad at me, but it like struck a chord. You can tell. He's like, that's BS. Like he grabs this club out of his bag. He's got a staff bag there, and it's just like super heavy, has like all kinds of lead in the shaft, right? Grabs this driver and just goes, boom, arrow. And then he throws that one back in his bag, grabs another one. It's this like rubber shafted driver. And he goes, another arrow. He goes, you want to tell me that your clubs are screwing you up again? I go, okay, point taken, right? So my opinion on it is, one, as you get better, yeah, you want to put more arrows in your bag just so that you like have different gappings, fitting appropriately. So like higher ball speed players will tend to have some more longer irons, even if they're beefed up a little bit, just so that we can kind of keep the traj down, like the original launch and the spin are appropriate so that the golf ball apexes properly. And then you've got lower swing players where swing speed players where we want to get the golf ball pitched up a little bit more so that golf ball apexes properly. So that's a reason. And then all of your like yardage gaps throughout your bag is a main reason starting off. As you get more and more accomplished, we want the dynamic of the golf club, like the shaft, to load and unload in a very similar way all the way through the bag. So if I make a golf swing that's a solid golf swing with driver, I'm going to get, and then if I go copy paste golf swing with 3 wood and 5 wood and 7 wood and long irons and mid irons and short irons and wedges and all the way through, that I get similarities in the control of the golf ball. So if I have, let's say, a 7 wood that's a lot softer shaft and maybe some different torques in that shaft that the golf club wants to like flash and torque down, and I start to lose the face, even though it feels like the exact same swing as 3 wood. But 7 wood's like drawing big time, and I'm making golf swings with 3 wood and it primarily cuts. It's like timeout. That shouldn't really happen. Now, sometimes like this is set up with again, going back to Chris Cordy, he's got driver that when he makes a good golf swing with driver, he wants it to cut, so it's set up that way. And then he just got Mini Dog, Mini Driver from TaylorMade, and it's easier for him to draw that golf ball for a few different reasons. He can pinch it a little bit more. It has like 13 degrees on it rather than 9. The overall shape of the club and the balance out, the perimeter weighting's a little bit different. So it's a little bit easier for him to just like apex draw it compared to apex cut it, which is kind of nice for playing different styles of holes, dogleg left versus dogleg right. So there's little like personal idiosyncrasies in there, but when it comes to fitting, it depends on what you're needing at that point, and I think that's the art of fitting. My favorite fitters are always fitters who ask the student, like, hey, number one, are you getting golf lessons? If so, what are you doing in your golf swing, and what are you trending towards? And they can start to fit equipment based on the player's needs, based on what kind of movement pattern they're going to be working into. For a lot of our players that become accomplished within the patterns that we prefer, their golf clubs, especially in their irons and wedges, we flatten them pretty substantially. We got one player that has 7 flat golf clubs, but everybody's like pretty much in the 2 to 5 down category, right in there. Like, what are yours at, Jay? Are 4?
Irons are 3, wedges are 4.
Yeah, so 3 flat, 4 flat for wedges.
I set all my woods up flat too.
And then woods it flat as well. So anyhow, that's kind of my take on club fitting. I will say this, like, I'm at best a novice when it comes to club fitting. Like, you should watch me go get club fit. It's hilarious. I don't even know what shafts I have in all my equipment. I just go, That looks good, sounds good, feels good. That sounds good. That's nice. I like that one. You want to know what your specs? I don't care what my specs are. I just want them to kind of all like feel relatively the same.
Golly, I wish I had that brain when Titleist fits me. I have to turn fitting brain off.
Yep, exactly. But what's your take on that, Jay?
I would absolutely 100% agree. I think, you know, as you start to get to a certain level, there are certain aspects that are important. Like, for instance, I think lie angle is the most important part of the club. I mean, like you said, you could put any freaking shaft in your hand, and if you own your golf swing, you can hit just about any shaft. But I think lie angle and how the club interacts with the turf, you hand me a club that's 2 degrees upright, and then you hand me a club that's 2 degrees flat, I have to adjust something, or the ball's just going to be not even close to what I want. But you hand me a club that's, you know, I'll take our 6-year-old's clubs that's, you know, the half the length of my putter, and I just squat down, I can still hit it well, right?
Exactly.
You know,
I think the cool thing on that too is, like, I don't know where we put this, but we used to have a training club that's like, you bent it to, I think it's 6 flat. It's like a 6 iron.
I went about as far as I could before.
Yeah, without it breaking.
Yeah.
But that's actually a great training club. One of our favorite training clubs is just getting, like, go to a frickin' swap meet one time. Just go grab like an old forged equipment you can bend more. But just get that thing flattened out. Like, if you can get it 8 flat without breaking the thing, and you can hit like a really stable block drop, man, you're doing some really cool stuff, because that means you got to drop, center of mass gets lower, that's what gets the shaft lower as you're turning through. Like, I mean, a lot of players that stand and throw it and the handle gets high, that thing all of a sudden is like 12, 13 degrees toe down. And I mean, that ball is going to start right and slice, and it's like, that ball's way wrong. So it really encourages just the shape of the club face. Like, you see that toe down? Like, if I'm looking at that thing and that toe is down, I'm going to have to, like, I got to get down here and go get it in order to control that golf ball. I'm not going to go, okay, I know how to control it and get that way, right? My equipment, you bent mine, I think they're 3.
Yep.
Yeah, so all my equipment's 3 down. I'm 6'1", how tall are you?
6.
Yeah, 6. So fairly tall guys compared to a lot of PGA Tour players. You see a lot of 5'10" homies out there. So that makes sense to have them a little flatter if you're shorter. But I mean, 6'1", 6 foot, we got 3 down, 3 down. So anyhow, I mean, this is a long, drawn-out conversation about club fitting, but if you kind of go about it from that standpoint, I think you're in a general good spot.
Yeah, I got plenty of guys that I coached that they're like, when I started working with them, like, I really, really want new clubs. I'm like, all right, let's get the swing going, and they would like set it as a goal. It's like, all right, I want to get my swing where it needs to be. I can adjust their club's lie angle based off of that for the time being, but they make it a goal for them.
Good club fitter right there, because it's like, all right, your swing's not there yet. This isn't going to make any difference. Let's get a golf swing that's a little bit more repeatable. You can control the tool better. That makes sense to have better equipment, because your technique has earned that.
Yep. It's kind of my viewpoint on lab putters. It's a bit of a Band-Aid. Hot take.
Yes, sir. Love it.
Dylan.
What up, Dale?
How can I tell on the video if I'm dropping my pelvis too much or not enough with driver or irons?
Oh, good question. So, look, like with these questions, what's interesting is you can gain insight on the player. I feel like, Dill, where you're in right now is in your unconscious mind, or maybe even your conscious mind, that you think that there's a perfect or a right way to swing it, okay? And that's why, again, we talk about this quite often, that the golf swing is this spectrum, right? Meaning that all of this area is a good area. So I would play with, like, let me drop a ton to the point where it's inappropriate. You feel like you either lose speed or the precision, blah, 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 whatever, okay? And then on the other side, what if I didn't drop at all? So I'm kind of like out of bounds here, and I'm also out of bounds here. So then you can start to identify what that truly means for you. Because at the end of the day, like, every single player on earth in the forward swing, the lead arm is going to lower to some degree, and at some point it does go across. It's just the amount of that, right? So what I kind of mean by this is look, if my main intention is to lower this lead arm down my chest, I don't need to drop at all. In fact, I'm going to want to stand and push this forward to accommodate for that. So if you're looking to drop it more, that means that I need to limit the amount of lowering, and I need more across out of my chest. But right now, see, I haven't dropped at all, so I'm missing the golf ball by friggin' 4 feet. So to keep this same movement relative to my rib cage, how much would I need to drop in order to now have that arm swing out of my chest and I can go hit it? So that's more of, we talk about this as like the transverse plane hit. So if this is out of my chest right here, how much do I need to drop, pivot to now be able to do that and go find the golf ball? So even in that action, I'm going to have some amount of arm lowering, even though the main intention is to work across my chest here, just pure abduction with this lead arm, pure adduction with the trail arm. So if I'm doing that again, it's like, okay, where does the club need to be? How much am I dropping so that now I can just go in here? Boom, that's an AB adduct hit. So, everybody's a little different with that, man. I know for my game personally, I need to feel a lot of that because I grew up really dropping the arms a heck of a lot and kind of shoving the pelvis forward. So what always gets me more balanced out is feeling a heavier drop, a heavier swivel of the pelvis, more across in my hit, and I feel right at home. And for most players that we coach, 19 out of 20 players that we coach, they come into us with shoving the pelvis laterally. There's too much lowering in the arms. There's too much tumble in the golf club. So we'll push them more into that kind of a spectrum. Every once in a while, we get one of you golf nerds that's like really watched a ton of our videos and they come in with like excessive amounts of all the stuff that we really prefer. And it's like, okay, we need to tone this down so then we can just start to define what's the right amount for that particular player to be a big bad mofo when they're hitting nuggets. So again, hopefully that answers that question in a way that's like, look at it from a spectrum standpoint. Like, what do we need? Do we need more of this across hit, a little bit of this lowering? How much of that stuff? And then the pelvis balances out again with that. Again, there's a concept. Movement, how do they marry? Concept, now on dimes. That's the venture I'd encourage you to go down.
Lovely. All right, Mike Ellefson. I hope I pronounced that right.
What up,
It's been
Mike?
pretty good the past couple weeks of me and pronouncing names, so
You're doing well, man.
I got a streak going
He's super
here.
cultured after a year of doing
Yes.
these. You'll know some names.
Yes. What suspicions might you have if you heard someone complain that their divots are consistently going left, maybe 10 degrees, obviously seeing fades, but with good distance?
Then I'd keep it.
All right, next question.
I'd keep it, man. I mean, at the end of the day, like when we're seeing a divot, I mean, obviously, hopefully we're not seeing divot back in here, right? But let's say that we have, here, let me just grab a cool, so maybe this is a little bit easier to see. So, because again, these numbers, and I think this is my, okay, let me freaking go off for a second.
Yay!
Okay, so all the quantitative bullshit that's out there, TrackMan, Foresight, Gears, Sportsbox AI, blah, blah, blah. I hate it all. Hate it. How did Nicholas get so good? He didn't, what numbers did he ever have?
Yardage.
Yeah, there's a pine tree over there that's supposed to be 150, and that's about 170. Frickin' send it, flush it, dime it, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Now, let me soften this a little bit. It's cool. Yeah, numbers are cool. But I hate them because the industry as a whole has become reliant on the damn numbers. So all this business about coaches going, you better measure. The measurements are fine. They're fine. But there's 6 different ways to get to a certain angle of attack. If you're on pressure mats, there's a couple different ways to move pressure laterally. There's a ton of ways to like get to the number. So the problem is if I just throw TrackMan down and I'm so reliant on, I want an inside path. Most people, how they accomplish that is they shove the pelvis towards the target, they laterally bend to get the golf club under, and then they'll shove it out and roll it. So number one, you're gonna lose your ability to compress a golf ball most of the time with that kind of a mat, because the low point control is going to be back behind it, so you're going to have like all kinds of difficulty hitting the middle of the face. So already you're fighting an uphill battle. Number two, the face is just doing this, so the racket is everywhere. So how are you ever going to control the direction? And then third, and maybe even most important, is that's an incredibly unhealthy moving in that way. You're leaning the needle like heavily into injury. Like, and we see this in every single player. Nicholas had this, Norman had this, Zalatoris, Jason Day. It's all a very similar pattern with what's going on in the spine. So if you're a golf dork and a golf nerd, and this is your thing that you want to do, but you're moving in a way that's going to prevent you from doing that because the overall health of your body is being sacrificed, you're whack. So you must come about things from a qualitative perspective first, and then if you want to fit in some numbers, then you can, but it's like 98% qualitative and 2% quantitative. I mean, we've got the stuff, we've got foresight here, and sure, it's kind of nice for the wintertime. When's the last time you used foresight with a student?
Can't remember.
I use it, the majority of what I use it for is AOA, angle of attack, and chipping. So I look at one number. We can kind of look at path stuff, so it's kind of nice if you're trying to reiterate something like, dude, frickin' ball's drawn still, you want to cut it, this is what the numbers have to be. And then it can help you as a coach to like, okay, lie angle stuff, because you can have a cut pattern and still drop because the lie angle's too high or too upright. So, like, looking at a divot is sometimes the same way as trying to look at something from a quantitative perspective, because it's like, oh, dude, my divot is going left. All right, number one, if we're going to be close to zero, the divot should be going left because the low point is post-impact. So if I've got this curve, I'm going to go inside, if I'm at zero, inside, 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 ball, zero. Now I'm still going down, 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 low point. I've got divot in the ground. It's already going left, and it keeps going. I'm divot out of the ground, or club out of the ground. There's the full divot. So that thing should be curving in here. And look, like chasing zeros, which is kind of what we're talking about with divot direction. If your divot's going to the right as a right-handed player, you're heavily inside, because it's trying to arc left by that time, because that's where the circle's going to take it. And if you have quad, foresight, whatever, like any of those things, you better not be chasing zeros, or I will find you and I'll come yell at you. Dylan Stewart is a fabulous PGA Tour Americas player right now. His sweet spot for driver is -9 to -6. It's left 6 to 9 degrees because he likes to hit a pull cut. So that means the face is going to be left 4, and so the path left relative to the face is 4. That's just a bit. It's not much. It's a little bitty pull cut. I have another player, freaking awesome player, awesome swing. One of my favorite virtual students that I coach, Kevin Lee is his name, up in Chi-Town. Shout out to Kevin. I mean, we're sometimes 13 left, and it's like perfect. Ball's great, like efficiency of ball is awesome. So he like for his like, dude, I got to get in play shot. He's double digits left with his path. Pull cut, freaking awesome ball. Like falls off of that a little bit to like 6 left, because he still wants it to cut, but it's just the amount of it that he's throwing to control the ball. If he really wants it cutting, he's throwing 12s. Now, imagine how detrimental it would be to chase zeros for him, because now, one, you're handcuffing yourself because you're trying to be perfect, which is the damn lens that golf instruction just runs down in the first place, is you have to be perfect. Well, the golf club's got to be right here. No. Like, Tour averages, which is sports box, how does that help any one individual person? Just knowing tour averages? How does that help you? So now all you end up doing is trying to chase tour averages in hip line, shoulder axis, club arrangement at every single P. P1 all the way through P10. And now you're handcuffed because your golf swing is going to be clunky and you're just trying to hit the perfect spots, when in actuality, there is no such thing as perfect. Which golf swing on tour is perfect?
No.
There's none of them, but they all balance out. But there's not really one player on tour that just is tour average in every single department. So what are we? Why are you trying to chase tour average? It doesn't make any sense. So the numbers are freaking stupid. Have a qualitative look first. Then you can play with some numbers that make sense for your game. But figure out a qualitative map first. It's going to help you so much more than chasing zeros. So, sorry for whoever asked about divot direction. But look, like divots also, being in Arizona for a decade, I mean, the roots are interesting. Like you'll hit a ball and all the grain is going in one direction and it like grabs the toe and then the divot looks like it's just this like wipe off even though everything's great. So the roots are different, the lies are different, how thick roots are, like all of that dictates the divot direction as well to some degree. So anyhow, before again trying to chase something, I would really look at like, okay, am I controlling the golf ball at a high level? If you have that like 10 degree left with the divots roughly, and you're hitting like awesome pull cuts, bro, I ain't changing that shit.
Leave it.
Send arrows, man. Send arrows. Okay.
Alrighty. I liked that one.
I'm gonna get in trouble for that one. I
Yes.
guarantee.
All right, my man Steve. Shout out Steve real quick. He been working with him for about a year.
Is this Steve?
This is Steve.
Ah,
Been
Steve.
working with him for about a year and a half. Sent me a text this morning. Said he just qualified for the North American Championship in Orlando. So stoked for him.
Great job,
so
Steve.
psyched.
Super pumped for you, pal.
He's been working
Great
his
job.
tail off.
Great job. Great
All
job.
right. Steve goes, greatest golf duo on the internet.
Let's go.
Appreciate it, Steve. Is there a good tempo to use when putting or when putting that will be consistent with all green conditions, or is a green by green situation, or is it a green by green situation?
That's a great question, and it will. I want it to be the same no matter where you're going. If you're using Blast Golf or Hack Motion, how Blast Golf reads this, there's two different ways to read this. I'll answer this in like 5 different ways, okay? So Blast reads it as a 2-to-1 ratio. So it's a 2 count, 1, 2 here to 1 back to the golf ball. So 1, 2, 1. Now, if we wanted to go from backswing and then went all the way to forward swing, it'd be a 1-to-1 ratio. So we'd go 1, 1, 1, 1, or we could go 1, 2, 1. It's the same thing. We're talking about, are we getting back to impact? Or are we going to finish? I tend to like the finish a little bit more because this is where I'm attentive to, is here, not at the golf ball. I don't want people like entranced with what I'm doing at impact. We're just passing through that. That's a very dynamic area. Now, couple different looks at this. There's a company. Can you hand me that 2x4 right there? Yep. So this company's dope. Flat Stick Studio. So what they do is they put this up and they'll track. They took this to a tour event, track every single tour player in that event in practice rounds. Just had them come up and hit like 2 or 3 putts on this thing and gathered information. So here's what the information. After I just said tour average is stupid, now I'm gonna give it tour average. What's interesting with this average is they're tracking the acceleration versus deceleration of the putter into the golf ball. And what they found is that the putter, on average on tour, is decelerating into the golf ball. which I think laughs in the face of a lot of the stuff that we hear as kids growing up. You know, make sure that you're accelerating through the hit with like chips and putts and da 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 da. Yep. And even in like fairway chips, they're finding the same thing, that the golf club actually tends to decelerate into the golf ball. Now, a couple things here. So one, if we remember that bowling ball test, remember when you're standing like on a chair in science class and there's this like rope with a bowling ball hanging right underneath it. You pull it up towards your face and you just let that thing go. Please don't push it, just let it go. And you just stand there and it goes to the other side of the room and here it comes, it's gonna come murder you, right? You're like, oh shit, here it comes. You gotta stand there and it comes and like loses energy. It doesn't wreck your face. So every swing, just like in a swing set, if your kiddo's in a swing set and they didn't keep like putting energy into that, eventually they would just like fall back to zero because gravity's like taking a lot of that away. So it's a very similar map in putting where I'm putting energy in away and then I'm letting the putter swing back forward. And wherever I let that putter swing to, that's the finish position. That point right there is going to be less of a swing from the impact of the golf ball, or from the low point to the finish, than it was back here. So this will already be longer. Plus, number two, I am in fact hitting an object, so some of the energy that the putter has gets transmitted into that golf ball. For putting and for wedges, we're even more so like we're using the turf to stop as well as the golf ball. So we're really going to see shots, especially again like fairway shots, okay, fairway lies for chipping. So if I'm in here and I go boom, see where that putter or that golf club finishes. So it swings to here and to there. Look at the difference in the length of the stroke. And with putting, length of stroke away to finish, this is shorter than this is. Now, the reason that we're decelerating into the golf ball is in putting, the low point, like you're gonna see the putter, or excuse me, the golf ball in front of the sternum to some degree with almost every single player. Almost every single player. And the reason being is we want a little bit of an upstroke here, and that's what's gonna help to go ahead and deflect the golf ball this way so it immediately starts to roll. Plus, if I hit up on it, is the golf ball gonna tend to launch higher or lower? Higher. If I hit up on something, it's gonna have a little bit of this, so it actually gets the golf ball like up off the ground, but tumbling over itself, so it's this when it hits and rolls, right? So, point being, if the ball is up in my stance, my low point is gonna be underneath my sternum. This will be the fastest that the golf club is swinging in that arrangement, and from that point forward, it's gonna start to slow down. So it's fastest here, and then it's progressively getting slower in the through swing. Okay, so that's why we see a deceleration of the putter into the golf ball for higher level players. For low level players, I mean, just look at the difference here. If I go in here, I go back and shove it, that's like a super telltale sign of a bad putter. Because like, think of it like intuitively with like a hammer. I talk about this all the freaking time. If I have a hammer and I got a nail, and I go, okay, hammer the nail into the wood, and somebody goes, like, nobody ever does that, right? But we do that with a putter, so there's zero dexterity in that. And like, you'll kind of figure out like, okay, if I've got like a regular size nail into a 2x4, I'm gonna put a certain amount of pressure on that nail. Now, if I have a smaller nail into drywall, I'm not gonna put the same amount of pressure on that nail, I'm gonna tap it. So there's less pressure on that nail than there is on this one. And if I've got a pylon into the ground and a sledgehammer, I'm gonna frickin' hit that thing. But see how I'm taking the putter and transmitting all that energy and I'm done. I wouldn't go push the friggin' pylon on the ground, are you kidding me? Like most anti-athlete thing ever. So why all of a sudden with this tool do I have to push the thing around? You lose all the dexterity of the hit. So to answer that question, I think there's numerous different ways to go about that. But what you'll modify from one green to the next, like course to course, like let's say we have slower greens here and then really slick marbly ones over here, it's the same hit, but how much pressure am I wanting to put on the golf ball for it to like accelerate off there and then it coasts for a longer period of time for like for faster greens because there's just not as much friction on the ground. The ball's just going to keep rolling. Slower greens, we need a little bit more pressure on it, so we accelerate it for a longer period of time, and then it coasts for a short period of time. It's the same thing for uphill versus downhill putts. So if we go about it more from that perspective, I think it'll help you a ton, dude, when it comes to like your ability to control pressure onto the golf ball that then translates into your ability to control pace or speed on the greens. Very good question though, man.
On
and
that
again,
rhythm,
congrats.
Yeah, the rhythm aspect too. Flat stick, love it. The OG Doug showed me how to use that thing, and we would measure the length of the backs, like your average, like natural rhythm, the length of your backswing to your forward swing, and from there you could figure out your beats per minute. And everybody's a little bit different. Like I think Tiger was like 110.
Yeah, they're like
quick.
Boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
Mine's like
Burst,
85.
Boom, boom.
And then what I do is I just go find a song that matches that, and I can play that song in my head. So now my rhythm's always consistent. All I got to do is find the pressure on the ball.
Find your song and then
Oh,
put it in and go.
It's great.
Yeah, it's excellent. Very
Yeah.
cool.
All right. I think we got time for one, maybe two more. Andre, this is a good one. How do you deal with the mental side of taking a new swing that is under construction to the course? Ideally, we don't want to have a bunch of swing thoughts, but the swing is not yet second nature.
It will never be second nature. So, a couple different ways to oh boy, this is another one. Struck record again. Struck record.
Oh, take
I'm not. I'm also not. I'm not upset. This is just like I'm upset with the golf industry 99% of the time. I'm actually not. That's not true either. But it does piss me off sometimes because there's so many like isms out there. Go to the driving range. Think about your swing. When you go play, don't think about your swing anymore. Like what? On what earth does that make sense? That's just a massive, massive cop-out. What we're really saying is the stuff that you're working on in your golf swing doesn't work, so don't think about it. It just blows my mind. Now, I'm not saying that you need to think about every single thing on the internet when you go swing a golf club. Like, no. But the things that you're working on in your golf swing are meant to help you with your ability to control that. So why would I not think about that when playing? You can think about, seriously, from my own personal game, every golf swing that I ever make, I have 4 swing thoughts. In competition, I play in US Open locals, every single rep that I make, I'm thinking about four swing thoughts. Now, it doesn't have to be 4, it could be 1, it could be 7. The biggest thing is it has to be digestible, and 2, kind of sub 2, you've got to be able to perform that within proper rhythms, proper tensegrity, proper woo-woo, proper tempo, however you want to describe that. You've got to be able to do it within good rhythm. Global law number 1 is global law number 1 for a reason. Rhythm, tensegrity model. But within that, can you have ideas of where the golf club is moving in space and how your body's going to support that, and that gives you the opportunity for better results? Yeah. So what I would do, what was this guy's name? Andre? Andre, last name?
Gene.
Okay, Andre. So I would imagine that you've probably taken several golf lessons in your life. You probably study the game a lot. You probably YouTube a ton. If you're on our platform, you're probably watching the heck out of a ton of our videos. Now, what I would do is just a thought exercise. If you were to write down the commandments for your swing, thou shalt. How many commandments do you have? What are like really, really important concepts for you that when you have that map, then you typically hit it well? Write that down. And then what else goes in there? Like a lot of guys will say something to do with rhythm or whatever. If I feel, like let's say that you're a player who really needs to feel like the golf club's back in here so that you can turn on it. Okay, great. thou shall move the club in here. Like I gotta move it in there, and I'm gonna turn with that, and it gets me leveled out through the strike. Beautiful. Instead of looking at like trail foot supination, the lead femur needs to go internal, but I gotta swivel the pelvis and so it's not all these like individual like rabbit holes. I would look at like what are the big concepts for you that make you better as a player. And if you have any like little subcats in there that help you, right? Like if we knew that we wanted the golf club to move in here, but I need to make sure that the face is strong enough. Okay, well maybe I can either do that in my left-hand grip, or in my backswing I just get the face strong enough early, so now as I move it in there, I've got the face, rather than being weak and then being in here and I gotta catch it up. Okay, great, you can have little subcats that help that, but that would be for you and everybody else that has taken multiple lessons, hit a ton of golf balls in their life. That's the route that I would go. So it's not about like adding more into your swing. It's actually probably about subtracting a lot out of your swing, but really identifying what makes you special as a player. And every single day you tune into that on the range and on the golf course and in competition. So every single shot, it's fairly similar to the next, right? Again, it doesn't make any sense to go to the range. I'm gonna work my butt off on my golf swing, then I'll go to the golf course. I'm not gonna think about that stuff. What do you do? Why would you not think about the things that are meant to help you out with your ball striking in that moment? Like I wanna strike it well. Well, what controls the golf ball? Your golf swing. That's the correlator. So the definition of a good golf swing is your ability to control the golf ball. So what allows you to control the golf ball? That's the thought experiment. Great question.
And on
Okay.
that note, Sarah's in the chat. She said the girls say hi, Dad.
Hi, girls. I love you. Love you. Little two twin 5-year-olds, Charlie and Frankie. That just made my day. Thanks, sweetie. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Always awesome to jam with you. Any questions that you have or have asked during this live, we'll definitely save those. We will absolutely get to those in the weeks coming. If you have any when you're sitting watching these on X Factor, please write those down. We file those as well. We will get to every single question. Eventually, we will absolutely get to those questions. Thanks so much for tuning in with Jay and I. Till next week, send thumpies, baby. Let's go.